Hey guys, we're in our final chapter and we're going to talk about line plots more than we already have. So this is lesson 12-1, line plots, and today's date is going to be 5/29/30. So let's get into what is it and how to make one. So a line plot is a visual display of data where each data value is shown is shown, let's try that again, as a dot or an X above a number line. So when it's a dot, it's often referred to as, aka, a dot plot. Okay, same thing. All right, so we're going to start to make one. Oops, sorry, calling it a dot plot already. Line plot. We're going to, why do we make it? First off, use when there's a lot of data. It helps organize it really quickly, super quickly, okay? All right, so let's talk about what are some of the things that you need to do. So number one, we're going to look at the range. And that's going to help me figure out what's going to be the beginning of my number line, and what's going to be at the end. Am I going to count by ones or count by twos? So on and so forth, okay? So we look at the range, so that's going to help us with all sorts of stuff. Intervals, beginning, end. Okay. Next, we're going to draw and label the number line. Now that we know what we're counting by, that's what we're going to put on there. Okay, and give yourself room. Now, kind of had this issue when we're doing box plots. We're going to not make the dots on the number line. They're actually going to be above the number line. So make marks. Make marks. So either a dot or an X for each value. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to do my words together. And then above the number line. Okay? And then when they ask you, as they have been all along, to analyze the data, describe the data, here's what you're going to focus in on. 3 things. First, you're going to tell about total number of responses. So how many people participated. 2, you're going to figure out what is the highest value. People always want to know that. You are going to talk about the lowest value, so our minimum and maximum, right? And probably the most interesting one is, what do people like the most? So that's your mode. Okay? So we're going to create a line plot from the data and then describe the data. So I'm going to write that out because that's generally what I'm going to hear for directions. So create, a little messy there, yep. Create a line plot from the data. And then describe the data in the graph. Okay, now the one thing I didn't mention, I'm going to write it over here at number 2. Title the graph. So that's going to go above your actual plots, okay? So let's go back to a problem at hand. So we have a number of projects. So we've got 2, 4, 3, 3, 1, 0, 5, 4, 2, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2. So here's our table of values. Okay. So first thing we want to do is figure out the range. So our greatest value appears to be 5, and our least value appears to be 0. So our range is 5. So that tells us we're going to count by ones. Very small. So over here, we're going to write our graph, do our graph, number of projects. We're going to draw a number line down here. We're going to start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then put all the numbers in. And then we're going to just start making, I'm going to do x's. So the order they show up, 2, 4, 3, 3, 1, 0. Notice they're all, the first ones are all in the same line. See, that was a 0, so we're at 5. 4, be careful when you stop. I almost lost my place. 2, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2. Okay? So we're going to start with our responses. There were 15 members. So we have 5 rows of 3, or 5 columns of 3. You can count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 X's. So there were 15 members who shared data. Now we're going to talk specifically about 3 things. We're going to talk about greatest, least, and then also what was the mode. So at most, someone did 5 projects. And one person did no projects. Or, yeah, so if you notice, I didn't use the words greatest and least. I'm kind of talking about it this way. And then the response, let's see how to say it, the most common response was our tallest column, 2 projects. Okay, this is the mode of the data. Okay, so what are some things that you can look at when you're analyzing a line plot? Well, pretty much everything. We can find the measures of central tendency, as we've been practicing. And those would be your mean, median, and mode. And then we can also find measures of variation. So those are all about spread. Variation. And that would be your range and outliers. And to do outliers, you're also doing quartiles and IQR and multiplying by 1.5 and so on. So I'm going to give you a plot, and then we're going to practice. So I'm going to turn this off for just a moment, write down my data, and then come back and join us. Okay, so from the given line plot, find the median, mode, range, and any outliers of the data, then describe the data. All right, so let's start with actually range. So our largest number was at 25, and our smallest number was 17. So we subtract them, and we get 8. Okay. Let's see what else. Let's do mode. He's simple. So we look for the tallest bar. Oh, this would be 8 magazines. And the tallest bar is at 20, so 20 magazines was the most that was sold. Let's see, they want us to find the median. So, actually, helps if I spell it correctly, don't you think? Oops. But in order to do median, it would be really helpful if I knew how many responses there were. So let me do that over here. So responses is count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So between the 7th and 8th number would be the median. So 1, 2, 3, always from the bottom up. 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here's your median. And the good news, it's between 20 and 20. So we also know it's 20. Okay, and then we want to know if there's any outliers. And I can tell very easily from the data there aren't. There's nothing that's far beyond the rest of them. So this is an eyeball condition. Outliers. And the answer would be no. So we can go ahead and do a quick response. We could say there were 14 responses to this survey. Oops, I didn't spell that right, did I? Try that again. To this survey. The median is 20. So half of the participants sold 20 or more magazines. And half sold less than 20 magazines, or 20 or less magazines. Talking about the placement of the mode. Okay, the mode is 20. Which means more participants sold 20 magazines than any other number of magazines. The range is 8. And there are no outliers. Okay, remember, always pause when you need to. All right, that's it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Bye-bye.